Yeah, we're back coming to you live from WRUEN, Tennessee. It's the Scribbling Woman.
Thank you, Jimmy Rue. I'm Nancy Rue. You are a scribbling woman too, so welcome back to Women Creating Writerly Lives. All right, we are all friends here, yes? So let's admit that we've all been there. For whatever reason, you've grown apart from your creative pursuit. Now, if you've listened to the recording of the last time that we were together, you may have reignited your passion for it. You can't wait to get back to it, to savor that deliciousness again. And yet you're finding it hard to just pick up where you left off. Can you find the thread? What if it's not there? What if it's the wrong thread? What if you've lost your mojo for weaving threads together? Well, before we all freak out and let that passion die again, I'm going to tell you a story. And at first, it may seem to have nothing whatsoever to do with writing, but just hear me out. A few weeks ago, I ran into a woman I hadn't seen in 5 years, even though we live in adjacent towns. We used to be close, very close. We didn't have a falling out, at least I don't remember having one. We just drifted apart. It had been so long, I didn't recognize her as she got out of her cute little car in front of a strip mall. I complimented this tiny woman on her equally tiny little vehicle, and she said, "Nancy?" Suddenly, it was as if we hadn't seen each other, that we had seen each other just the day before. Hugs, moving from the parking lot to the sidewalk, a 20-minute conversation, cell phones out, making arrangements to meet for coffee the very next week. And that subsequent coffee chat turned into 2 hours of reconnecting over lattes. Now, at our age, that was at first about our grown children, our grandchildren, our surgeries. Then there was, so what are you doing now? And then, so should we arrange for dinner with our guys? The past, the present, the future. It was all there. I'm sure that then, as well as in the weeks since, then when we've been texting and talking on the phone, she may have been thinking some of the same things that I have. Is she as happy to see me as I am to see her? Has he changed in ways I can't see yet? Are we wise enough now not to let us drift apart from each other again? Well, one thing I know for sure, I want this person in my life, and I'll give our renewed friendship the attention that it deserves. Well, I'm sure you've picked up on where I'm going with this. Reigniting the passion for stories and narratives we haven't been with for a long time is as energizing and exciting as running into that old friend we thought we'd never see again. We want to dive right in. We want to hug it. We want to remember its wonderfulness. We want to make plans with it. And yet we feel a little tenuous. Is this going to fade once more? Will I lose it yet again? That doesn't have to happen. Not if we give our writerly life the focus and care it needs to flourish and remain. Sort of like renewing that old friendship. Are you up for some steps? Now, these are guidelines. I'm sure you'll fit them into your own writerly self or come up with a process of your own, or just get a feel for this and see what needs to be attended to and take it from there. All right, step 1. Recall how much you loved your project or your writerly life itself when you first began, when it was delightful and absorbing and challenging in a good way. And let me just insert here that even if you haven't been actually separated from your work, this also applies to just feeling a little bit stale and flat and not as excited about it. Now, we did some of this reviving in episode 54, but it's worth it to go a little deeper. Did working on that project back in the beginning give you a good feeling and you stepped away when the feeling faded? Or was it such a part of you that the disconnect was actually painful? Did you love it that much that you actually felt guilty about abandoning it and feel guilty about returning to it? Are you afraid it won't be there for you if you move toward it again? You know what? None of that matters now. My old friend and I haven't gotten into why we drifted apart and haven't spoken in 5 years, and we probably never will. You don't have to go into therapy to figure out why your manuscript is buried so deep in your computer you had to do a major search for it. The why isn't important. You don't have time for that. If you've ever been to therapy, you know that the first several months, maybe even a year, are about going back into your earliest days, your childhood, your adolescence, your early adult life to find out what shaped you, what makes you behave the way that you do. Then you get to a certain point where you said, well, we got that part. What am I going to do now? How am I going to change? And the why doesn't necessarily cause the change. So think about your writerly life and your creative pursuit. Do you still love it? Then let's move forward. And if you do move forward in a different way, you won't do the same things that caused you to separate yourself from it back then. Step 2, catch up on what's happened since you were last on track. If you were working on a novel or a short story or nonfiction book, read through what you've done, but not with an editorial eye. When I ran into my old friend, I didn't feel the need to tell her what she should do to make this work. Nor did she tell me that I've added some wrinkles here and there and I move a lot slower than I used to. We were just happy to see each other. All you're doing at this point in your writerly life is reviewing, seeing where you've been, remembering where you were headed, getting that feeling of reunion, of belonging to it again. And I'll add to that, focus on what is pretty darn good about what you wrote because it's there. The idea for the story is still pretty powerful. The characters you bonded with are just waiting for you to connect with them again. The world you were building is just as delightful. Even the turns of phrase, the things that make you say, did I write that? I'm freaking fabulous. Yeah, there are going to be things you'll want to change and improve, but right now, just savor the fact that you wrote well and that you can again, and you will. If you stopped writing before you really had a work in progress, reconnect with the writing practice that you were developing. Did you have a writing space that is now the catch-all for the Christmas decorations and neglected workout equipment? Were you in a rhythm of going down to the split bean every Wednesday afternoon and writing, and now you don't even know what you do with that swath of time? Did you used to carry a notebook in your bag and jot down ideas, and it currently contains doodles that you've drawn during boring meetings? Were you really starting to think of yourself as a writer, and now you kind of feel like a wannabe? If you are once again in love with the idea of a writerly life, as well you should be, then reclaim it. Announce that everybody needs to get their stuff out of your writing area by next Tuesday or it's going to the Goodwill. Meanwhile, put up a vision board, update your laptop, and get yourself the perfect writerly mug. Block out Wednesday afternoons or whatever period of time you have available on your calendar and ask your partner or your bestie to remind you, and then go in there. Sit yourself down in that chair that you always sat in at Starbucks or McDonald's or the library. Get a new notebook to carry in your bag or set up a notes file on your phone. And then first of all, fill it with everything that you want to play with or toy with as you move forward with your writerly life. And don't forget, also jot down a description of the ears on that guy at the next table because they are so going on a character in your next book. On the aforementioned vision board, post this: I am a writer. If you need to be more emphatic, post, I am a writer, damn it. And then surround that with quotes and images that reflect you and your role as a writer, because it's your role. It belongs to you. If it didn't, this passion wouldn't be stirring up in you again. And step 3, discover what's different about you and your creative pursuit or your idea of a writerly life. What has changed since you were last together? Even if it's only been a few weeks or months since you picked it up, enough distance was created for you to lose your passion, right? Well, that verb has returned with a new life, and the new life is you. So ask yourself some questions. If a loss of some kind in your life has interrupted your writing flow, how has that affected you in the way you see things now? If harsh criticism about your work sent you away from it, what has allowed you to resolve that and be brave again? If you yourself thought your writing wasn't good enough, how has your belief in your talent been restored? If just the plain old stuff of life got in the way, how have your priorities changed, bringing you back to the importance of your stuff, your creativity? Seeing yourself differently, Recognizing how you've grown will allow you to move forward in a new way with clearer perspective, with courage, with confidence, with a sense of the worth of your work and of you. And that's going to show up in the writing itself, even if you're not conscious of it. It'll happen because this is a changed you who's doing the writing. And finally, step 4, decide what to do, D-O with capital letters, to stay in touch with this project going forward, or simply with the writerly life that will lead to a specific creative pursuit. When my old friend and I entered our 20-minute initial conversation at the strip mall, we didn't say, "So let's keep in touch." Our dialogue went something like this. "We should get together for coffee and catch up. Let's do when? Well, let's look at our calendars. How about next Wednesday morning? 9:00? Great. Where? Java Does? Got it." What do you need to do to stay connected, to keep the creative passion alive rather than wait for the spirit to move you? Why not be clear on just what needs to happen? As Pablo Picasso said, inspiration is real, but it has to find you working. Now, a bit of a cad was our Pablo, but he was a prolific, passionate, and brilliant painter on purpose. So, some things to think about. Do you need to create a 1-week plan, a writing plan, and see how it goes at the end of 7 days and then tweak it? Maybe that's a quota of pages or words or scenes. Perhaps it's milestones in getting reacquainted with your character or your audience. It could even be just every lunch hour doing something to move your project forward. Not everyone's a planner, but intentions are essential for all creatives. And if you're vague on what intentions are, you might go back and listen to episodes 15, 42, and or 45. Do you need to make your renewed commitment to your writerly life clear to the people in your life? In writing, by text or email or a memo posted on the refrigerator, at a meeting arranged by you, via a sign on the door. I've said this many times. I used to have a sign that says, "Unless you are puking, bleeding, or running a temperature of over 103, do not open this door before 2 p.m. There might be a discussion with these people, but the final clarification is yours. You get to do this, you. Do you need to write some things out for yourself, too? Why this is important to you, how you intend to commit to it, how you want to feel, where you want to be in X amount of time, who you are as a writer. You seeing a theme here? This is not just about making up your mind. It's about taking action. As a character in the play Mother Hicks says, you can spit in one hand and wish in the other and see which one gets full first. Your writerly life has called to you. It's missed you and it wants you back and you want it back. What you gonna do to keep you in this life together? With purpose, honoring your intentions, doing what you need to do in order to keep it alive and thriving as it never has before. I'm not telling you anything I haven't experienced myself and recently. When I took a few months away from actual writing to promote my books and ponder what my writerly life might look like after this next book is done, I made progress in those directions, but I also found myself feeling a little dried up. Questions crackled at me like old leaves. Is there really any point in this? Does any of it really matter? Should I even write this 130th book? Can I? But the minute I went into my imagination and sat down around the chimenea in my mind with my 4 characters, they said, "Where the Sam Hill have you been?" And I said, "Too far away." Gosh, it was good to see them. To remember why we love and need each other. To realize we could go deeper together, and here's how. To make a plan moving forward. To hear them say, "What do you mean, what's the point?" You are the point. Welcome back. So welcome back to your writerly life, Scribblies. Embrace it. And until next time, scribble on.